Alrighty guys, so I'm just going to start flying ahead with the Pajero. I'm probably not going to do as an in-depth job as I had first hoped, because I want to have this on the road as a backup for the Merc coming up to the holiday. So I dropped the tank because that was leaking, and it's wet here, but it's hard to tell really what is the cause of the leak. It's overall just crud everywhere on it, and then there's some like broken pipes here. I need to figure out what these actually do. These here, it looks like possibly an additional filter just there, and then there's one here which is probably some kind of gas recirculation for emissions or something. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out if I can just bypass all of that, because I'm not really going to be able to salvage it, I don't think. And basically what I think it is, I think it's the seal around here that's after failing, because that I'm after pumping diesel out there, so that's why it's wet, but it was already quite hard. So tanks out anyway. First steps, at least starting, is the hardest part. For tanks out, I'm going to power wash this. I'm going to maybe look for some kind of leak, and then maybe I'll get one of that slosh stuff, you know, the stuff they use for sealing tanks, or see if there's any other solution I can do. Anyway guys, just a quick update. Alrighty guys, so I have power washed the tank, and I'm just going to start grinding it down and looking for where is actually leaking on it. And I was power washing it, like, you know, this kind of stuff was coming off the whole time in along these seams. So I took those 2 bars off that hold that bottom tray on and everything. Believe it or not, I think from memory, yeah, the bottom of the tank looks very good, and I actually Gravitexed this U-Haul Gravitex product. I did that on this Jeep maybe 5 years ago. Not a majorly good job at it or anything like that, just a quick job, but it seems to have actually done an awful lot to save this Jeep, or this Pajero. People get a bit weird when you say Jeep and you're talking about Pajero, but anyway. So that's, I don't know where we're gonna have to find a leak on that and everything, so I'm gonna grind it all back, not bare metal, but get all the rough stuff out of it, till I get a good, even, flat finish on it. And at that point then I'm going to put some more diesel back into it, and I'm going to look to see where I have damp spots forming, and that's normally a good indicator. That's what I did with the Merc tank on the W124 Merc tank. So that's how I kind of worked, so I can find these locations, because it's oily. Once you put diesel in, it's oily, so it leaves an oily residue. But if you've cleaned it flat, it should have no oily residue left on it. And as such, where you see oily residue, there's your leak. So that's that. I had a go underneath this. Sorry for the light and the doom and gloom over this direction of the shed. I had a so that's the tank out of here, and it's looking okay. I'm happy enough with that. I'm going to all that pipe work on top of the tank. Somebody can confirm it, but I have checked it out, and seemingly all that pipe work is just emissions based stuff for the Japanese market, because it's a JDM Pajero. So the likes of that there I can probably remove, and I can probably remove the other piece here, if you can see that, just there, which all like looks like it operates entirely upon vacuum or pressure built up from off gases, things like that. It's not electrical, so I can't see an issue, because the diesel will just run as long as you feed it. These kind of diesels will anyway. They'll run as long as you feed it. Diesel, and these aren't electrically assisting in that way, in that feed. I know like the likes of the OM606 doesn't even need an electric feed, but this does. I believe this has an electric lift pump somewhere further up at the actual pump. I think it has an electric attachment for that. So then the next thing after the tank that I got looking at was the guard that was here. I could see it was kind of rusty and everything like that. And as I say, the Gravitex has done a good job all around here at protecting these surfaces. But there was areas that at the time I didn't even remove. So there was a guard there. You can see it's absolutely in bits, and it was just protecting the heater, the rear heater for these Exceed, or these is it Exceeds? They have the winter pack, you know, the Japanese winter pack on them. So they have a heater back here. And as I was removing it, and I was quite rough removing it, because at the point where it started breaking these tabs off, I could no longer get the bolts out, so I was twisting and getting it to break. But I found that it started pissing coolant out of it, sorry for the language, but the coolant started pouring out of it, and I found then that this was easily kind of moving around and causing a leak possibly. And not a leak that I could notice though, that's the thing. So I don't know if it was just from me being a bit rough, but either way, the first one was totally broken when I went to go at it. The second one broke by hand as I just gave it a little tug, and it just, the whole thing snapped. So they're just little copper joiners onto that. So I'm going to have to go into the cabin and remove, I think that's how it comes out. The heater piece will have to be removed from inside the cabin. And I want to keep it, I think. I'm going to salvage it. Because the rubber piping looks all good. So I'm just going to put some copper joiners in here, or stainless steel joiners if I can find some, and run that over to the matrix. I'm sure there's a copper-based matrix inside there as well. And like that, this was ran on the red long life coolant for a long time. So we'll find out that could be corroded as well. But I don't know if that accounts for my slight leak in coolant that I think I was talking about previously. I think that's probably, as you can smell it when the heater matrix warms up. I doubt it was coming from the back of the cab, but maybe it was. Either way, we're going to have a look. I just don't know if we're going to get to have a look on this job specifically, if you know what I mean. Other than that, it's all kind of looking okay. I'm going to remove this, and I am going to try. I'm basically going to see if I can simplify the setup back here. I will. The likes of them, there's no need to remove all of this stuff. I do see the likes of this is my fuel line here, and I have these old fuel lines, you know, that where I had replaced it previously. I'm going to permanently remove that this time. I just left them in place last time, but now I'm just going to permanently remove them, and no need in leaving them. And then I'm going to see about soaking underneath here with some see all that kind of grease that's built up on them. I'm going to see about soaking underneath here with some kind of degreaser before this. I would love to do something like get it properly cleaned off all this gick, but it's hard to know what to do. I will obviously go over it with like a wire brush and stuff, and wire brush on the grinder where applicable. But as I said before, I don't want to go too far with this. This is all looking okay here. I did a patch there last year, you might remember. That's looking good. As I said, that epoxy mastix from Rustbuster is fine, I think, for a totally bare metal job. I don't know, like, it might be good for the chassis in here, but I don't think it's a good job for going over any other kind of surface. So if I was blasting here, I think that epoxy mastic would probably do a good job. But if I'm not blasting it, I think I'll just Gravitex on top of the existing Gravitex if it's there, or wherever it's come loose. I'll end up putting a new layer on it. Everything else looking okay. I might have an issue here on this, but then again, like, it's hard to know. I will investigate a bit more, you know, on all this. I'll remove the likes of the kickboards and all that, just to be sure, you know. Anyway, guys, that's all the update on the Pajero this week. only other piece of information is that I dipped the gearbox from the OM606 and it's looking fine. It's looking, the colour stayed fine this week and everything like that, so that Lucas stuff might have helped. Alternatively, maybe it just takes a good amount of time before the oil becomes burnt and thin. So I think we're okay for our French trip and our France trip, hopefully, touch wood, with that car. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I will update you in the next few days with more work, or next week with more work on this.